you talked about the game in Arizona, February 12th. I know you're a busy dude. Will you be there, Michael?
100% going to be there. What I usually do every year is every Super Bowl weekend, I leave that weekend open. If anybody's going to book me to work, book me where that city is.
Wow.
Last year I left it open. I was in LA. I didn't get to go to the game. I didn't care much about I'm not a big Rams fan. I think every Rams fan is a phony, because a lot of the original Rams fans are from back in the 60s and 70s and 80s in LA. And then they went to St. Louis, and then they built them real fan base in St. Louis. And when they came back to LA, they don't have the true fan base. So I'm not a Rams fan. I really don't care much about the Rams. Now the Bengals I did care about because my nephew played for the Bengals.
Right. Which I gotta ask you about your nephew too, because he was catching strays on Twitter yesterday.
Well, you know what? I was rooting for him just so he could. A lot of time, I always believe in, talk smack once you get that ring. Yeah. Once you get that ring, you can talk all you want to talk, And once again, it came very close. I mean, there's so many cornerbacks that would do anything to be in his position.
Yeah.
Two AFC championship games back to back. You know how hard that is? Out of 32 teams to beat the last two teams left on your conference? Very tough. But my nephew, he's a savage, but I think it's just in the family. I go on stage, I go hard in the paint. I roast everybody, I talk about everybody. So I guess it's just in the blood,
I like it. It makes it fun. Have you talked to Eli since last night?
You know what? I was at a party that for the Eagles players last night in Philly. I was hanging out with Riddick and Sanders and a few of the Eagles, and one of the kids that I think Hank's one of those guys FaceTime Eli out of nowhere and put me on the phone, and and I just had a very brief conversation, nothing much because it was really loud there. But he needs time to let everything sink in. At the end of the day, he had a great season, a hell of a season, so he has nothing to be ashamed of, and just come back better next time. It's a great time to be raised in Philly, man. Philly's been my home since the summer of 1989. I've only been in America for about 2 years, and when I moved to Philly, I fell in love with this city. This city made me where I am today. I'm just so glad and happy that we are back to the Super Bowl. I mean, we had a really rough early 2000. I mean, we went to 5 NFC championship games, made it to 1 Super Bowl, and then we lost. And then we didn't see it again until 2018. That was like a miracle season. Yeah. And now 5 years later, we are back at it. But this time, we have all the confidence in the world. We were underdogs back then, but now we are favorite.
Yeah, right, Mike. And look, I'm a guy from Jersey, and I know in those early years, like you're talking about, in the 90s, 2000, I mean, you had good teams, but you never took that next step. And now here you are again in your football fandom career, for lack of a better terms. Where does yesterday's game rank? Because it looked like you were having such a great time out there.
I had a great time. We've played. It wasn't as much entertaining as the last NFC championship game against the Vikings 5 years ago. This one was, it was it was sad. I just felt like we beat up on these guys. It's like, the whole team, their quarterback came to our game and parked in the handicap section of the stadium. Okay, the 49ers came, they had nothing. I felt bad. At some point, I started feeling sorry for them.
You did.
Here it is on the third string quarterback. He comes in and, his arm get messed up. They take him out the game. They bring another guy, and they brought the fourth string quarterback in. I thought the punter was going to be next. The fourth string quarterback comes. He gets a concussion. Eagles defense is atrocious, okay, if that's even a word, okay?
Yeah.
This guy get a concussion, so he cannot come back in the game. So now you got to go back to the handicap quarterback that has his arm all messed up. He can't even throw the ball. He has to hand the ball over. At one point, McCaffrey, the running back, was throwing the ball.
Right.
It became sad. But hey, I would take an easy win any day. It was an easy win for Philadelphia. But we earned it because we played at home. We played a hell of a season, won 14 games.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this Super Bowl because we have two #1 teams going at it. And for the first time in NFL history, two black quarterbacks are going at it. So it's going to be exciting.
It's history, man. There was a time when you didn't see black quarterbacks, period. And now at the very top of the sport, two of the best, maybe the two best, period. What's this mean?
It means a lot. Like I said, everybody get the time to shine in, whether a particular race or anything. Even I remember when I came here as an African kid, the kids made fun of me every day. They clown me, and now and now every black kid is looking for identity. Now they're trying to identify themselves in some part of Africa. Wakanda became like the movie. Now everybody's curious about Africa. Everybody in every race will get their chance to be great. And I just think it's just a great time. Finally, the black quarterbacks are finally getting recognized, because at one point they were running quarterbacks. Nobody thought running quarterbacks would make it to the Super Bowl. I remember back in the 90s when they talked about guys were first coming out. They said, these guys are never going to make it running around.
You got to be a pocket passer. Yeah, how about that now, right?
And look, Mahomes is like all around. He runs, he throws. Same thing with Jalen. It's going to be a great game, even though Mahomes looks Puerto Rican. But I'll let him be black for Super Bowl.
Hey, I'm going to let you just have that one, Michael.
But no, I got a chance actually to party with Mahomes the year he won the Super Bowl against San Francisco. I remember he came out of Vegas and we partied at this one club.
What's it like hanging out with Patrick Mahomes?
You know what? He's a cool kid. I'm like twice those guys' age. So when they see me, they're like this. They admire me. They're fans. And at the same time, I'm a sports fan, so I love athletes. But he's cool. He's a fun guy. He was pretty chill. And I wish him a lot of luck. But of course, let's go Eagles.
All right, I'm gonna let you go on this though. Football. Give me what are we thinking here? You got a score in mind? I know you think the Eagles are gonna win. What's this Super Bowl gonna look like February 12th?
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be high scoring. Is unlike the NFC and the AFC championship games, neither one of them went over on the scores. I think this one I'm expecting a lot of scoring. Chiefs defense don't really scare me much. I'm not.
Chris Jones though is pretty good. Hey, Chris Jones and Kelsey, that's gonna be a fun matchup.
Definitely gonna be a fun matchup. But I'm checking out the corners. I'm not too big. I don't think their corners are good enough to guard AJ Brown, and Dante. So I'm expecting some kind of a shootout. At the same time, Patrick Mahomes is a kid that never goes down by like. I've never seen him down by like 10 points ever. This guy finds ways to stay in the game and find ways to win the game. We have to contain him. He runs all over the place. That's why he got $400 million. Or is it $500 million?
I think 500, yeah.
Look at that. This guy could buy my whole village. But it's going to be a shootout. I'm going with 28-24 Eagles.